and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a different kind of process video for you. I have jumped on the MemoryDex bandwagon. If you are a Bible journaler, then you have probably seen these going crazy over on Instagram. What this particular box is a precious memory box that I received from a store on Etsy. I will link it below, but Heidi Swapp also had a line of MemoryDex boxes. And these are basically just little cards that are punched like a Rolodex, and you can store your cards in here. You keep them, and they can do all kinds of things. You can have photos on them. You can have quotes on them. You could have verses on them, things that inspire you, just fun things. And so I've made a few of them, and I resisted this for a long time, but the truth is it is super fun to make. The cards go fast, they're easy to do, and I like the idea of having this full box, like a collection of cards. So what I'm going to do today is show you how I am going to create several of these cards in kind of a batch format. So I have these scrap pieces of paper. I believe these are from a Maggie Holmes collection that I used in Traveler's Notebook. I have the scrap paper right here. I have some different supplies. These are leftover Project Life cards. I like the grid on the back. This will give me a place to write on the card if I would like to. I have various washi tape that is kind of fall themed that I pulled out. I have fall themed ephemera up here. I have some postcards that I picked up when I was in Italy that I thought would be fun to try to use, and a few Maggie Holmes tags that I could use also. And this is the Heidi Swapp MemoryDex punch, and this is what will make it so that each of the cards has the correct notch out of it. I'll be able to use that punch. It'll be notched perfectly to fit inside this little box. So my plan is to batch make some of these cards while I have the time, and then I can go back and I can add inspirational quotes or even just sweet memories from a day or a verse that I'm studying. I like the idea of having the cards ready to go so I can just grab it and add it into the stack when I am ready. So I will put you on fast forward and we'll kind of go through the process of how I create the batch, what I'm thinking of, and we'll see what happens at the end. The first thing I'm going to do is go through this stack of scraps that I have. Like I said, from a previous project, I love the sizing of these cards. They're so small that you really are able to use a lot of the scraps that you have in your stash. My cards are about 4¼ inches wide and 3½ inches tall. You can have them taller because there's no top to the box, so they could kind of stick out farther if you'd like. And you can have some pieces hang off the edge of the top, but you're limited by the sides of the box on as far as the width goes. So I kind of picked a variety. I don't really have a purpose for what I'm going to use these cards for to start off with. I kind of felt like making a batch. I'm thinking I'm going to use them for inspirational quotes and Bible verses, but right now I really just wanted to play with supplies, wanted to look at some of the things I had. I was in the process of cleaning out some of the things in my craft room, and this is a great way to use a lot of what's in your stash, some of the odds and ends, because you don't need a lot of things to create a card. I am rounding off all of the edges of my cards with my Becky Higgins Project Life corner punch here, and I just like the rounded look. I think they move easier in the box that way and are less likely to get damaged. And of course, the next step is to use the Heidi Swapp MemoryDex punch so that they have the correct notches in them. This punch is available over at By the Well for God. I will link it below. You can just use a sample card and lay it on top and kind of trace it out and cut it out, but the punch just makes that process go so much quicker. Once I laid it out, I realized I only had 8 cards and I kind of wanted to work in this grid format. So I grabbed one more card, trim it up, and add it so that I will be creating 9 cards today. I like having them all laid out in front of me here. You'll see I'm just going to start playing with ephemera pieces. I start with these tags. I have had them forever, so I really wanted to use as many of them as possible. So I grabbed some tags, and then I really had this pile of ephemera pieces. Some of my ephemera pieces I divide by color and some by theme, and this was my fall themed pile, and I haven't used it in, I guess, about a year since it was fall, and I just was looking at it and wasn't necessarily seeing pages jump off, if that makes sense. I wasn't seeing Traveler's Notebook pages, I wasn't seeing Bible journaling pages, but I do still love these pieces, and it is fun to play with them, mix them up from different collections, and see what you can create. This whole process of moving around the ephemera pieces, I think, was the most fun part for me. It's fun to practice your layering skills. Each card only holds about 2 to 3 pieces before it starts to feel really crowded, but it does give you a chance to group things and practice and see what things look like together. And mixing and matching different collections has never been a strength of mine, so it's fun to play with it on this smaller scale. I think that's one of the things that's really intriguing about these cards, is that you can try so many things, but it's on a smaller scale and it's not as big of a time commitment. If you have watched my videos for any length of time, you know that I love interactive pieces, and so I took this postcard here. I'm going to round the corners and I'm going to attach it to the card in the top middle and make it an interactive piece where it can flip up and there will be pieces hidden underneath. The other fun part about working in this batch style was that all of the cards ended up so different, which I thought was really fun. It would be very easy to use one collection of paper and the same collection of ephemera and grab the washi tape from that collection, and you could knock out a bunch of these that all coordinated. This was made up of odds and ends, and that presented a unique challenge, and I really enjoyed working on each card and making it unique. I followed the same process in building each card, and that was selecting the cards. Next up was picking ephemera pieces that I knew I wanted to include on the cards. And then the following step was adding washi tape, a washi tape detail. Washi tape is one of those craft items that I have in my room. I have a ton of it and I don't use it nearly as much as I should based on how much I have. So anytime I have the chance to really dig into my washi stash and grab some pieces that I haven't used in a while, I will do it. The other thing I'm adding over here is some ribbon, and I also don't use ribbon that often, but I do like the texture that it is adding. This particular arrow ribbon kind of has a worn texture, just a little bit more rustic, and I like that it's adding just a little bit more interest to the card. Here I'm going to use it as the tie for the top of the tag, and later you'll see me using it in a washi tape form. Again, fiddling around with the ephemera pieces here, I keep wanting to use this pine cone 3D sticker that I've had, and it had a lot of friends with it at one point, but now I just have one left, and that just wasn't the right spot for it. So I'll keep searching. There will be a perfect spot. Adding a heart, and then you see, again, I'm going to reach for washi tape because I'm going to try to include washi tape on every card. In retrospect, I wish that I had picked the washi tape before I punched the MemoryDex holes in each card, because once I put the washi tape on the bottom, I had to re-punch each time, and then there was washi tape in my MemoryDex punch. So I wish I had lined each card with washi tape and then done the punching, but that's okay. It works either way. I loved the process of layering pieces over and over again. I didn't really like that first washi tape I put down, so I just covered it up. I took a blue grid washi covering it up, and then this is where I decided to add that ribbon just to add a little bit more texture to this card, texture and interest, and kind of used it as a piece of washi tape. You'll have to let me know if you are using these MemoryDex cards or these precious memory boxes, and let me know what you are using it for. I have so many ideas. This was kind of a project to kind of get it out of my system, just making a bunch of cards and seeing what felt good. I feel like it would be awesome to do maybe a card a week for a year, like a 52-week project, and just include a picture and a memory, and you'd have one memory from every week. Sometimes I struggle in memory keeping and just keeping up in general. And so, I mean, one card a week, that is something that I could totally commit to. Or maybe just writing all, you know, your family's gratitude. November is coming up and a lot of us will participate in Gratitude Documented, and maybe just having each of your family members make their own card of things they're thankful for, and then you can have it sitting at the Thanksgiving table and everyone can go through it and read everyone's memories. There's so many possibilities. I can see these being used for Advent, telling the Advent story and the story of the birth of Christ, and each card kind of representing a different day. There are so many possibilities, and I think the size makes it really accessible and really easy to do. And I'm excited to see where our community kind of takes it. I'm excited that the Bible journaling community found this and kind of bought into this, and I feel like has almost taken it over in a way. And I'd be interested to see and hear some of the ideas that people have for using this system. With this blue floral card, I decided that I wanted to use this picture frame as a picture frame, and so I only put adhesive on 3 sides of it, thinking that I will be able to slip a photo, a very small photo, in later. And I was very careful when adhering the word love right here, that there's an open flap so that the picture can stick down through that picture frame when I decide to add it at a later time. I'm going to stop talking and let you just watch the rest of these cards, the front of them being filled up, and then I'll come back and explain what I ended up doing on the back. So just enjoy watching me fiddle around with some of these ephemera pieces, and then I'll be with you in just a couple minutes and talk about what I decided to do for the back of these cards. So the fronts are done, and I love how they came out, and there's certainly the ability to add a few words here and there, but I want to be able to take some notes, to add a couple sentences to a card if I wanted to. So I have these Project Life journaling cards that I've had left over forever. I'm kind of a Project Life dropout, so I have all of these materials that I just don't want to give up, but I don't do the project anymore. And so I went through the journaling cards, found ones that I thought matched with each card, and I'm adhering it to the back of the card. And the gridded pattern gives me a place where I can add some journaling pieces here and there, and I just like how it kind of anchors the back of the card as well. You can see a few of the cards had some images that didn't quite go, so I'm just covering those up with ephemera pieces. And of course, as I started working with some ephemera pieces, I decided, well, all the cards need to have a little bit of decorative ephemera on the back. I'm even creating an extra little tip-in with this house on the bottom right. and just adding a little bit more interest to the back. I use ephemera, I use die cuts, I use washi tape, and just adding interest to those cards in the back, making them feel cohesive. This way, as I'm flipping through, you won't necessarily see what's written. The Bible verse won't be, facing you right up front, but I could put a word like love or peace on the front. And then when I wanted to dive into that feeling a little bit more, I could go on the back and read a Bible verse or maybe a memory, something like that, that kind of sparks thoughts, creativity, something. There's all kinds of ways to use these cards, and I'm super excited to dive in. I highly recommend this project if you are a busy mom or a busy grandma or just a busy volunteer that likes to do some crafting but has a really hard time committing larger amounts of time. Each of these cards took probably 5 minutes on average total. The whole project, all 9 cards, took me about 45 minutes to complete in real time. And that, works out to about 5 minutes card, which is something I think we can almost all find in our day on most days. And it gives you a chance to get a little creative, to flex that crafty muscle and get to use some of those supplies that you have so lovingly collected. I will link the supplies that I used in the info box below this video. The biggest one you'll probably need is that MemoryDex punch, and then you'll want to find a box that works for you. My particular box is from an Etsy shop, and I will link that below. You can also search for a Heidi Swapp memory box. I'll see if I can find one online that I can also link below. Otherwise, I encourage you to use what is in your stash. Use up some old sticker sheets. Use the last few of die cuts that you have from different devotional kits or from different scrapbooking sets. See what you have that you can use in your own stash. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and also hitting that subscribe button and that bell notification button so you'll be among the first to know when I release a new video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, keep it creative.